So it's setting up our meeting. And the meeting is being live streamed. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. My name is Jen Gardella, and I'm here on the Jeff Davis page, sharing with you a little bit of information about how you can hire a great personal injury attorney and what kind of cases that Jeff Davis is an expert in bringing to the courts and resolution for his clients. So Jeff, welcome.
Thank you very much.
We haven't done one of these yet. This is very exciting.
It is. I'm looking forward to sharing any information that you think might be helpful.
Yeah, so why don't you share a little bit about the practice and the types of cases that you are most successful with?
Absolutely. So my name's Jeff Davis, and I've been a lawyer since 1986. I'm board certified in civil trial law. And what I practice is plaintiff's personal injury work. And that means I represent victims who've been injured in various kinds of mishaps. That could range from a simple fall down or an automobile accident or something that happens from defective products, something that breaks. Most recently, and a case I'm working on that I'm finding very interesting, is my client was driving a delivery van for her employer. And she was never told that this particular van, the Mercedes Sprinter van, had a defect. It would come out of park. And it was very, very problematic because if you're on an incline or on an angle or somewhere where that vehicle can roll and you get out of that vehicle can run you over. And that's exactly what happened to my client. And at first, it was very interesting because the insurance company defending the case said, oh, well, that must be her fault because she left it in neutral. But when we did a little homework and we started to research how the van actually operates, we determined that in order to exit the van, you must first place it in park because the doors are locked. They're locked in neutral, they're locked in drive, they're locked in reverse. And Mercedes is pretty clever about that. They don't let you out of the car unless you put it in park. So my case is a product liability claim. We also handle dog bite cases occasionally, medical malpractice cases, dental malpractice cases. We've had cases involving amusement rides. We've had negligent security cases, shootings, people who are robbed, attacked. We've had cases involving situations where a surface is too slippery and somebody either slips or trips and falls, or a surface isn't built properly, like steps that are too narrow or too tall. All sorts of types of issues and conditions that create problems for people and cause injury.
Yeah, and the work is so important because people are injured and every aspect of their life is harmed in some way. When you either can't work or you need, special equipment or special medical attention. So you really need somebody who can hold your hand through the process, explain what to do, and then also really defend your rights because the defendants and the insurance companies are looking out for themselves. And
Absolutely.
That's a really important part of the work that you do.
You're so correct. Most of us realize just how tough it is to get a doctor's appointment. You ever try to book your doctor and just to get a checkup, they tell you 6 months. And then when you get there, you wait in the waiting room for 3 or 4 hours sometimes. And then when you go to pay, the bill's alarming. Even a copay is alarming. The lawyer that helps you with your injury case helps you with more than just getting money. And you used an expression, hold your hand. We do. We take care of every aspect of that person's needs, starting with their medical care. We try to help them choreograph their medical care so that they are seen by the right doctors for the type of injury they have. Most people have never heard of certain kinds of doctors that exist. Like, for instance, a physiatrist. Does anybody really know what a physiatrist is?
No.
It's a doctor of physical medicine and rehabilitation. And that comes into play oftentimes with injuries. There's neurologists, there's neurosurgeons, there's orthopedic surgeons, there's surgeons that specialize within specific body parts, like foot and ankle surgeons, hand surgeons, eye doctors that have all sorts of limited aspects of the eye, retinal surgeons, doctors that deal with cataracts, yeah, there's so many types of doctors. And it's important for the personal injury lawyer to help their client see the right kind of doctor and make sure that they're seen by not just general doctors, not just doctors of internal medicine or family medicine, but doctors of the appropriate specialty. And we find that oftentimes people get stuck sitting in hospital waiting rooms, never getting seen on time. And that leads to all sorts of complications, including things that get overlooked. So we like to help our clients and be sure that our clients are given the appropriate medical care, and not just the initial care, but the therapy, the follow-up, all the medical equipment that they're going to need, make sure their prescription drugs are attended to. All of these types of things are part of the job of the personal injury lawyer, things you wouldn't think of.
Yeah, so when someone is hurt, whether they get hurt in a big box store or whether they are hurt, like you said, it's something at their home, in a friend, whatever, in a car accident, what do they look for in that attorney?
So I like to think of my role in terms of helping a person who's been hurt as being directly available to them. To me, one of the most important parts of my job is the direct personal relationship with that client. They're not just a number, they're not a product or a unit. They're a person with a big problem that they've come to me and my firm to help solve. So it's
Sure.
not just me, it's my staff. We're all hands on
Right.
because that person needs us, and they don't need us just during business hours. We
Exactly.
have to be available. So I give out my cell phone to every client and I
Oh,
make sure I'm available. I mean, I hate to say 24/7 because nobody likes to get a phone call in the middle of the night. But you know what? If somebody needs me on the weekend, I'm not going to tell them to call me back on Monday. If they need me, they're going to speak to me on the weekend. And if I
right.
need to see them on the weekend, I will do it. So to me, the job of the personal injury lawyer is to be available. The second job is to understand what the case is about. It's critical that that lawyer really take the time to figure out who's responsible,
Right.
who the insurance company is, who the parties are. It's not just the driver of the other car. Who owned the other car? Was that car leased?
Oh,
Was that car rented? Was that car borrowed? Was that car on a mission for a business? In other words, was somebody driving that car for a company or a business? Because I need to know that, because that
right.
business may be responsible. So I have to explore all the various types of coverage that may be out there to protect my client and make sure my client is made whole. And that's really my job, getting my client made whole,
I
getting them
love that
back.
phrase.
Yeah, getting them back to where they were before this thing happened. Now, remember, and I'll just pick a car accident case. Like, it's not just the car that's damaged, it's the person. And if
Right.
that, so I, my job is, of course, to get the car repaired if I can, or get the client money to buy a new car. But that's the easy part. And we don't even charge for that, by the way. What we have to do is we have to coordinate that client's medical care with the insurance companies. And
Right.
remember, it's not just the auto insurance company, it's the health insurance company or the workers' compensation insurance company or the disability insurance company. And unfortunately, sometimes it's even the life insurance company. These
Sure.
are all benefits that I need to get for my client to make sure my client is not coming out of pocket. Because the last thing a person needs when they've been injured in an accident is to now have to lay out money from their own pocket. That's the last thing they need. Usually they're not working. So it even makes it more stressful on them and
Sure.
their family. So these are all the jobs of the lawyer. And what they should look for is a lawyer that's willing to do all those things and
Right.
stay with it all the way through to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your point about being available to your clients, one thing that a lot of attorneys don't understand in a variety of law practices is that you hold a part of their life and a part of their future in your hands. And there's an uncertainty there. And people don't like a lot of uncertainty, right? And so what's going to happen to me is a big part of a personal injury lawsuit because you don't know what's going to happen, who is going to pay your bills, where is the medical attention and the payment's going to come from. So I think that's a beautiful part of how you work with your clients, and then you go and ferociously fight for their rights.
Thank
which
you.
is a
Well,
big part
yeah,
of it
you know,
too.
for the last almost 38 years, that's exactly what we've been doing. And I've been with in the same exact type of practice for the whole way through. I don't represent insurance companies. I don't represent businesses. I only represent injured people. And my job, as I see it, is to make sure that they do understand every single thing
Right.
that can possibly happen. And while I can't predict the future and I can never predict the outcome of the case, I can give them sort of recognize things that are coming down the road at them so that they'll understand. For instance, when a case does go into litigation and a client is going to give a deposition, we usually meet with the client 3, maybe even 4 times
Sure.
before so that we can rehearse, we can practice. I can give them questions that they're going to normally hear and make sure that they're familiar with their medical records so that they can remember dates and times and doctors' names and things that were said. Show them the pictures of the crash scene, show them the pictures of the car, show them the pictures of any evidence that we have so that they're on the same page, ready, familiar, and it won't be that scary that way. Sometimes in a case going to trial, I'll even meet with my client at the courthouse before trial, take them into the courtroom,
Oh,
show them where people will be seated, where they'll have to go to when they testify, get them familiar so that it's not so scary.
yeah,
The
because
fact that, yeah, the
courthouses are scary, and we don't,
courthouses are absolutely scary.
and as lay people, we don't understand the law. You know, it's like a whole separate language out there. And so it's critical to work with an attorney, as you said, who's going to really hold your hand and explain things to you, because that's a huge
Well,
part of finding comfort in at least the process is moving forward and you understand what's going on.
with my clients, there's no such thing as a dumb question. You know, anything they want to ask me about their case that they think they don't know the answer to, or they want to know the answer to, that's what my job is. They're paying me at the end of the case if I win, and by the way, only paying me if I win,
Right.
to give them correct advice, to give
Yep.
them correct answers, to teach them or tell them or make sure that the law is followed and that any statute that's there to their benefit will be honored and followed. Any rule or regulation will be adhered to, and any insurance issues that come up will be addressed. These are all the things that are part of my job.
Fantastic. Well, Jeff, you've answered all of my questions. I think that this is going to be part of a series that we do because there's so much great information that I think people want to see from an attorney before they know, like, trust, and hire, certainly. And as people are exploring options, it's good to have this type of information out there for them to see you as an attorney.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity and I thank you very much for asking such great questions.
Well, thanks. You have a great weekend, and we'll see you in a couple weeks, everyone.
Thank you.